This is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. I have a confession to make. One of the things that really bothers me about many Black people, even on social media, is that they're always asking some other group of people why they don't like Black people. And that bothers me because Black people haven't done anything to these people. We haven't done anything to Asians. We haven't done anything to Hispanics. We haven't done anything to Indians. We haven't done anything to Arabs. We haven't done anything to Africans. We haven't done anything to Caribbeans. We haven't done anything to any of these shitty people. But yet and still, there is the sense that they don't like us. And that is something for us to be concerned about. So people are making video after video about the anti-Blackness in their community. We don't ever talk about the anti-whiteness or the anti-Asian in the Black community. We don't talk about that. We talk about Asians doing low-down things to Black people, but we don't talk about disliking them. But because we keep asking people why they don't like us or why they hate us, they're making money by coming on these social media platforms and talking about the anti-Black hatred in their community, the colorism in their communities. And I'm saying that Black Americans need to get a spine. Why is it that these people matter? Now, we know we have conflict with white people. That has been going on since the first slave ship. We know that's a complicated relationship between Black and white Americans. Now, we get that. We don't understand why they don't like us, but they don't like us because slavery ended and they had to go to work for themselves. And we started trying to claim our own stuff, inventions and our culture and stuff like that, and that they can't work us for free. So they have that thing going. So we kind of get that. But all of these other people don't matter. These people are non-starters. And we know why they don't like us because they've been told through osmosis, I guess, that when they come to the United States, the best way for them to fare well in the United States is to take on the anti-Black talking points and narrative and sentiments of white Americans. The closer you can get to whiteness, the better. And some of them, like the Hispanics and maybe even the Asians, were classified as white until the poor white people, the regular white people, found out about it. So they've had to say, no, you're not white. So now they're mad at Black people. And we're not like those Black people like the Africans do. Some of them, not all of them. And I want to make that distinction too, because there are wonderful Africans. There are wonderful Africans in the United States as well as on the continent. And there are African content creators on social media who really try to ally with Black Americans. So I do want to make that distinction, but there are others. It's the others. It's the other ones that I'm talking about. The ones who think that they can get near to whiteness and get better treatment, I guess, whatever it is they're trying to do. Those are the ones I'm talking about. They know who you are. You know who you are, and yes, I'm talking about you. But anyway, back to the subject. We have got to start sending the message to people that it doesn't matter to us what they think about us or not. See, they all thought that they were in the package with the white people until Donald Trump started talking about mass deportation. Some of them are shocked that they might actually get mass deported out of here and that we won't be. And he said that Miami, Florida is going to be ground zero for mass deportation. What a hoot. Florida could have been a leading progressive state in the United States. Instead, they decided that they were going to go down the conservative route and try to latch on to these white supremacists. Now, ground zero and Miami. Miami is at the very base, at the very southern part of Florida, which means it's going to start down in Miami and come up north and get all of them. And I have it on very good authority that Texas is going to be ground one. The governor of Texas has allocated 1,200 acres of land for him to build a deportation detention center. So that sounds serious to me. They do not care what we think about them. They don't care about our history. They don't care about the trauma that we have suffered in this country. They don't care about anything but staying here and trying to identify with white people. And that right there is enough for me not to give a tinker's damn about them or what they think. But anyway, I want you to listen to Amy Chen because she has a pretty good grasp of the issues, the racial issues in the United States, especially as relates to her own people, the Asians. Somebody asked her, why do Asian people hate black people so much? And this is what she had to say.
Please be patient with me because there's so much here. I think the quick answer is that Asian Americans are given white privilege, especially the Asian Americans who fit the model minority stereotype. The quid pro quo for receiving that privilege is upholding white supremacy culture, which means being anti-black. I was talking with somebody last night who was pointing out that the Civil Rights Amendment was passed in 1964. But also in the 1960s, the United States opened the door to Asian immigration. So now you have an influx of racial minorities who knew nothing about the history of white violence against black people, knew nothing about the black civil rights movement. So they arrived with civil rights, not understanding how that came to be. And also, it effectively erased the United States' own anti-Asian history, because Asian Americans came in not necessarily knowing about the Chinese Exclusion Act or the internment of Japanese Americans in the United States during World War II. And I think that Asian Americans are used as a buffer between the black community and the white community, because in the 1960s, there was almost a racial reckoning. The white power structure almost had to face accountability for the history of violence against black people. But instead, Asian Americans were inserted and were pit against each other, so that we're always up against each other, and that basically like white supremacy escapes accountability. And the example that I think of that sort of started like the root of a lot of tension is Asian Americans were buying into the negative media stereotypes of black people. And then in the events that led up to what became known as the LA riots, the LAPD kettled protests away from wealthy white neighborhoods and into Koreatown, and then they left. And we know how that played out. So again, the two communities being pitted against each other and away from the white power structure. And obviously the model minority myth is used to oppress the black community. And there's so much here. I will be getting more into it, but I feel like that's the quickest answer that I can give that gets a little bit into the history. And I'm really curious to know what the black community and Asian Americans feel about this. But please be patient with me. Thank you.
And I think she hit upon some very important reasons why the Asian community and all other communities resent black people. But at the bottom line, it comes back to white supremacists using these groups of people to mask their own hatred against black people. And their hatred of black people has to do with the fact that they cannot get free labor and they take things from us and they don't want us to say anything about it. But it's all based in white supremacy. And these other groups of people have believed that by trying to attach themselves to whiteness that they will escape the racism, and they may escape the brunt of it, which is what black people get, but they don't escape. And the real bottom line is that they have no agency, and white people don't respect them because nobody respects people that they can use. They just don't. We have something so unique and so precious that some of us don't even recognize it. And that is the contributions and the sacrifices of our ancestors. We should stand on that, and it shouldn't matter what anybody thinks about us, not white people or any of their allies. It should not matter what they think about us, because a price was paid in blood, sweat, and tears to make this country what it is. Okay, now that's what I think. You know what you think about this. Thank you for listening. Give me a thumbs up and have a good evening.